We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Monday. We're starting out another week. This is kind of one of those weird weeks. It's back to business week, but it's the week between Christmas and New Year's. A lot of times, this is just a wasted week for people. Congress won't be back in session. I don't know what, if anything, is going to happen, but we'll be talking about all the stuff that's happened up to this point. And thankfully, we have Will back. Will has
Hi
been
guys.
kind of a wounded soldier for about a week and a half or so.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's been a party in the lungs. The best way to say it, guys. And but thank you for everyone that said nice things with the little videos I put out to basically give you signs of life. But yeah, we're gonna. There's so much stuff that's happened literally since Christmas. Literally
Yeah.
since
I,
Christmas.
ju- I just have to say this. Will had pneumonia and bronchitis. I've had them both, not at the same time. Singularly, they are fucking devastating kinds of sicknesses. Bronchitis was one of the worst experience I've ever had, so I give you credit for toughing that out. I will say I talked to Jace earlier this morning, Jace from San Antonio, Texas,
Right.
and I don't know why he got this question. But somebody DM'd him or put something in his comments, and he said, "Where the fuck is Will?" I go,
Shit.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
get
know.
I don't get those things. But Will's sick. He's old like me, and
Yep.
sometimes you need to just lay down for a little bit.
And you can't even lie down because you can't.
No,
It's that's the worst thing about it. And it's what it was is I went to a doctor, and it's kind of cool because I found a local doctor because I didn't want to go to urgent care. Urgent cares are like
yeah,
just ridiculous, especially the big ones. So I found this little doctor's office near where I live, and I called. Do you take my insurance? Yeah. Turns out about the nice Jamaican lady, really good at what she does, and she's listening to it. And basically, she goes, "Yeah, you have bronchitis, but yeah, and I can hear pneumonia at the bottom. You sound like you got water on your lungs. Thank you."
wow,
But and um, so basically, steroids, antibiotics, some glyphene, and so you just kind of have to write it out. And unfortunately for the family, they've been going through the same thing, trying to get through it. Quick note on my wife: she sees her oncologist tomorrow. She's supposed to see it last week, but she got sick, and we'll update you guys on that. But yeah, it's not like I've been laying there watching all this, going, "What the fuck?" And I think before we started this, I'm going to say it straight up, and I think the best way to describe what we're watching between Trump and the Trump administration regime and all that, they're losing their shit. They
yeah.
have
I think
lost
it's
their shit.
well. I think it's clear that Donald Trump is kind of beyond the pale at this point because if you look at his true social, it's nothing but talking about Jeffrey Epstein. You shouldn't put it out. You should put it out. You should expose all the Democrats. Uh, we're tired of doing it. You should be focusing on other things. He really doesn't know what to say.
No,
And this
well,
is typical of guys like him. They get cornered and they just fucking say everything.
well, Pam Bondi, when all this started, when he put her on the spot, release it, she read him. That's
Yeah.
why she stopped. She knew what the fuck was there. For all her syncopathy, she saw what she was looking at.
Yeah.
Okay, and it is, and as I said, these things are dark and deep, and this is part of an investigation. That's the thing people keep forgetting. You can't sell this as a hoax. You can't sell this as a Democratic investigation because these come from the first Trump DOJ investigation, Jeffrey Epstein,
Right.
through the FBI, through all the departments, the SDY, all the things that he was connected to. Let's be honest, guys. The reason they're freaking out is that they can't spin it as lies because it was investigated by the FBI to convict Cassell Maxwell.
Yeah.
Remember, that evidence was used to convict her. Two, if he had not himself, it would have been worse. Because what I'm seeing little by little, that this man was the biggest human trafficker and abuser of women in the history of mankind. Make
So it
Caligula look
seems,
like a
yeah.
good man.
Yeah.
And there's a movie again, nerd. Hi guys, nerd. The movie Black Widow with the one Scarlett Johansson, which is based on her character was turned into a killer because she was a spare person, a spare girl, someone sold. And there's a line from the evil guy in here who sets all these things up, gets all these girls in, runs them through this program. Those who make it. Those who don't are murdered. He said, "We, because I harvest the one resource people don't want but have plenty of girls."
Yeah.
And I heard that line, and it's not a throwaway line because if you look at what it is, this is what these people do. This is what they have done for centuries. And now Jeffrey Epstein literally turned into a cottage industry, fed the perversions of these rich men. And the thing that's going to bug me to this day, well, it's going to bug me for a while, is that look, you've been to hotels, I've been to hotels that have had towel service. Okay.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the people who are giving me towel services are in their 20s.
Yeah.
Okay. And these are male, or if they're female, they're in their 20s. Why are there 13, 14-year-olds in Mar-a-Lago doing towel service? Why does no one bring that up? And I was
Well, I
just
think
thinking that the other day, who does that? That's creepy as
I'm thinking
hell.
more of that. I think more of that is going to come out. I think there's also going to be a faction. Well, there'll be a section of this whole thing that will be over and above the sexual abuse of young kids. It will be the business or financial aspect of it. When you got 1.5 billion moving around and you got a bunch of oligarchs, some people keep thinking that he blackmailed people who came in and had sex with their friends. So, but think about this angle. This is a way to blackmail them without blackmailing them. What if it was a business? What if it was a service? And these wealthy guys, look, you can join the club for X amount of dollars. We're going to put you in here. Um, you're going to have your experiences. You're going to be with whoever you're going to be. And you don't have to be worried about it being outed because you're a paying customer. Now you
Yeah.
quit paying, you got a problem because we videotaped all this stuff. It was a trap, so to speak, because no one would willingly go in there just to get blackmailed.
No, but I'm going to say this. Excuse me, guys. I'm going to say this. Donald Trump looked at this as a business opportunity too. He wanted a piece of
Absolutely.
the action. And these rich guys, not only would they get their freak on, they can make money. And you did not have to convince them to be all of these. They don't want to out these guys because it'd be criminal because of they might be innocent. No, 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 no. Everyone there that participated willingly. Everyone got a piece of the
Except the
action.
girls. Except the girls.
Well, yeah, understand the victims became not human beings, became commodities.
Right.
They're commodities. And the guys who took advantage of this made money. And the thing I think what fell apart on it is like anything that Donald Trump gets involved in, he wants a bigger piece of the action, and he
Yeah.
fucked up a good thing. I will guarantee you that because I keep hearing about this Lake Michigan thing, and I've seen bits and pieces of it. Now, this isn't an investigative thing. We don't know if it's true, but it tracks, and that's scary
Well, it
unto
tracks for a
that.
couple of reasons. I saw V, who is with Under the Net Desk News, and she pointed out something that nobody really probably knew up until V
Right.
reported it. Is that Donald Trump did have some connections with Michigan and Lake Michigan because he owned a boat on Lake Michigan that was a casino boat. They go out in the lake and they'd have this casino thing. Now, that doesn't mean he's guilty of any of these things, but where does a story like this come from? And why hasn't it ever been investigated? I mean, even if it's a crazy conspiracy theory, don't the police or the FBI have an obligation
Oh,
to investigate it? But there's been no sense that that's happened.
and the hardest thing about all this, you got to keep everyone keep this in mind These were investigative files investigating a crime. This is not someone pulling something out of his ass. That's why Trump keeps trying to link it to the Mueller investigation and all the other. No, dude, your Department of Justice investigated Epstein. Everything stopped when he died, and Maxwell went to jail. And the thing about it is, these things are so dark and deep that Merrick Garland didn't want to touch him. And
Yeah.
the problem they don't want to touch him again is what we're hearing right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not about politics. This is
Not at
not
all.
Democrat or Republicans. This is about criminal acts. And you keep trying to sell this, the last one, like, we'll let all the Democrats take the fall. Dude, we don't care. No one cares. This is
No.
a criminal act that no one went and prosecuted. Again, Merrick Garland's mistake, the biggest mistake Biden did was Merrick Garland, who could not distinguish between a politician committing a crime and not calling it a crime, calling it politics. He
Yeah,
never could do that. He's so
I get
afraid
a,
of
I,
politics.
I get a sense that Merrick Garland, much like the Donald Trump investigation, but with the Jeffrey Epstein, he probably looked at it as, okay, the guy's dead now. I don't have to deal with that shit. Thankfully, I don't have to deal with that shit. Plus, whatever pressures are being put on by the wealthy and powerful people that are in those
Right.
files. Merrick Garland
Exactly.
ended up being a pussy ass bitch. He waited on Donald Trump. He ignored the Jeffrey Epstein thing. But like you say, to suggest what Donald Trump suggests in some Trumplefucks, oh, this is a Democratic hoax.
And
When did the Democrats ever touch it? They never fucking
that's just
touched it.
that. And here's the thing: you and I have been doing this a while. What, close to 3 years now, Mike? I would
Yeah,
say
yeah.
3 years. Okay. And the
Five
one
for
thing
me,
we
but
always, yeah, yeah, the one thing that we talk about occasionally is how low will they go? How low it is too low for these people? And I'm
apparently
finding
there's no
out.
bottom.
Yeah, I'm finding out. You've seen the videos. I've seen the videos of these people defending it. If you come onto the app or on social media and say, well, they got paid anyway and they were 13, they knew what was going on, there's something seriously wrong with you.
Yeah.
And you're so deep in a cult, it's ridiculous. Which brings me back to a point because I saw someone talking about, what do we do about the MAGA voters? We should make them welcome. No, I'm fucking done now.
Yeah.
This is it because I see how far they will go. And I don't give a fuck if they say, well, I made a mistake. No, you voted for all this. You voted for your hate. Now it's affecting you. As one person said it, the biggest problem with Trumpism and the lack of empathy that he's brought to America is that you don't see how everybody else feels, it's only how it affects me.
Right.
Literally. I mean, you guys are the epitome of that old adage you wouldn't piss on somebody if they were on fire in the street because it doesn't affect you unless you were on fire in the street. Then you want someone to put you out. That's the problem. So when it came down to this one thing, and that includes politicians, because I don't hear them screaming still,
Yeah.
except for very few, and you're coming up with excuses or going to the, well, now it's Bill Clinton's turn. What are you going to do about it? I don't give a fuck. And Bill Clinton says, I'm ready. I'm your Huckleberry. Let's do it. Because the point is, he may not have anything to hide. And this is it. You guys have crossed the line. And the only thing we're going to do now is that we've got to take back everything and flush yours out of existence. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to know you. And if you want to bring up, I keep hearing now the desperation. Well, it's time for us to go to civil war. It's time for us to take on the liberals. And again, I'll say it. I'm your Huckleberry because I'm done with you motherfuckers. This was
No,
it.
this is what they keep trying to do. They keep trying to say Bill Clinton's in it, so we back off. They also came out and said Reid Hoffman is in it. Now, Reid
Who
Hoffman
the
is the
fuck
guy
is Reid
who
Hoffman?
he invented LinkedIn. He's a billionaire and he has a lot of money. And Reid
Okay.
Hoffman said the same thing. Release the motherfuckers. they keep wanting to blame other people, Democrats or maybe Democrats that are in the files. As you said, this isn't about right or left. This is about
Exactly.
evil. This is about fucking evil, flat out evil. And if you are one of these evil fucks, then you deserve to be held
And
accountable.
if
Do
and
you
if you're
think
blaming, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
no do you think that at this point they're losing control of this situation, the
Oh
Democrat or the
hell yes.
Republicans and Donald Trump, and they're freaking out. I've even heard some Trumplefucks talked about this, and they're trying to sell the Democratic thing, but people who are talking to them are hammering them, and they're shuffling around a little bit. This stuff that came out in these files that were released, if they're going through these files trying to figure out how to hide things. It seems like things are slipping through. Do you think there's somebody in the DOJ or the FBI that's kind of a whistleblower type of person and slipping
I,
stuff in at the last minute?
I mean, all of a sudden they found 1 million files from the southern district of New York. They knew they were there. I think, and I made a comment about this, and people flipped out. I think there's a lot of still FBI agents who are just really pissed off
Oh yeah.
because a lot of them were set to redact all this shit. Some went with it. Understand, there are FBI agents that are down with Trump. I mean, when they did the original raid on Mar-a-Lago for the documents, it took a while because some FBI agents were reluctant. But
Right.
now I think part of it is that with Cash Patel sitting on top, the incompetence that he is, him firing a whole bunch of upper echelon people because he didn't want them in his way. And then setting these guys off to redact these things, knowing what they see. Are there FBI agents trying to sabotage this bullshit? Yes. And the thing about I'm going to bring up really quickly as we bring all this up, because this is just going to keep snowballing and it's getting worse. They can't stop it. They
No,
can't
they can't.
stop it. They can't. Is that the worst thing about it is oh shit, I just lost my thought. Um, they can't stop it, and I don't know what's next. Oh yeah, here it is. And then I get creators who are saying, well, "Why do we care? I mean, they're not going to go to jail for it. I mean, they're running a DOJ. And one guy goes, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to leave the country because, like, they're going to do anything. So why should I care? You know what? Get the fuck out of the way, okay? Because I don't care. Two, I know that the DOJ's job is to protect Trump right now with Pam Bondi, and she's running around knowing that her head's probably going to get locked off eventually. But as one creator said it, look, as much as they don't like it, they're going to lose the midterms. This is going to
No.
be a fucking bloodbath. The Republicans are not even running. 9 senators aren't running. Republican senators are not running. People are stepping up that are younger and looking to say, hey, we're talking about the economy and affordability. Oh, by the way, we lost 1.25 million jobs last year, majority
No.
manufacturing. 717 manufacturers filed for bankruptcy. Why? Tariffs. That's the most since the Great Recession, pushing to the Great Depression. There is no growth. That GDP number is bullshit. It's based on some numbers that don't work, and it's probably they put in some government spending. It's a fucking lie. Okay, things are going to start to come off the wheels, off the train, and there's not much they can do about it. And and here's the thing, even corporate Democrats aren't going to be able to stop the movement toward the left in social
No.
democracy. They're not going to. This is how desperate they are. Um, they're still holding on that with Zoran Mandami being about to become mayor of New York in a few days officially, and Jasmine Crocker running Texas, that they could run on that. They could run on that culture wars. You know, the biggest thing they're running right now on is that Zoran Mandami set up the new FDNY chief of fire chief, and she's a lesbian. And oh my God, it's over. Hey, dumbasses, they have one in Los Angeles. She runs the fire department in LA. She's a lesbian.
Well, yeah, and that's
It's
that's
not
big.
work. It's not going to
That's
work.
That's big talk coming from people who support an administration that puts meth Barbie in as the
Yes.
attorney general and a dumbass as the director of the FBI and a fucking frat boy who's in charge of the Defense Department. So don't tell me you
Well,
question who somebody's going to
and the
put in
thing,
their
but see, that's
position.
what they have. I mean, Mike Johnson's idea is that with Jasmine Crockett and Mondon, they're going to run on a culture war. Problem is, it's not going to work. It's not working now. It's
No,
not working now. And for them to make that announcement, and all we have to do, and part of the problem is, if you're a liberal Democrats and they say that, you just go, yeah, that's cool, isn't it? And just don't say anything else. Don't respond to it because we know that's desperate. I mean, he's going to do his thing. He's going to figure it out. It's going to work, not work. But see, here's the thing. If you're in Louisiana, what the fuck matter what happened in New York?
yeah,
I mean, you got more important things to do. And why are state state offices turning Democrat in southern states, in Georgia, in Mississippi, possibly in Louisiana? You could smell that people are getting very aggravated
yeah.
at this point because they can see the numbers and your amount of gaslighting. That I'm like sick as a dog. And I heard that so-called speech that Trump put out, and that was just that was literally everything that I upchucked that night in that sense. And I'm going to be honest, guys. You know I don't like it, but that's the same thing. Everything that came out of me that day, fighting my flu, is the same thing that came out of his mouth. It's all bullshit, and you can't
Well,
sell
I
it
have to.
anymore.
I have to give a disclaimer here for those of you who are listening and having lunch or eating
I'm
breakfast.
sorry. I
The
apologize.
Rational Boomer podcast doesn't approve of the same things that Will approves of. I
Yeah,
just need
right.
to say that.
It's an analogy. They all get it. And
You know,
if you didn't know, you know the job was dangerous when you took it.
yeah.
Um, but the
When
point
you
is
were
that,
talking about, you were talking
go ahead.
about
I'm
these
sorry.
people that say, well, nothing's going to happen. They may not get prosecuted. Well, they could get prosecuted, maybe not till Donald Trump's out of the way and not till
Right.
Pam Bondi's out of the way. But 3 years from now, there's going to be some investigations, there's going to be indictments, and there's going to be some prosecutions. I can guarantee you. But over and above, see, that's where everybody got it wrong. They think, okay, as soon as Biden gets in, Donald Trump's going to jail, or that's not how our court system works. I'm not even worried about jail yet. What I'm worried about is exposing this to the sunlight,
Yeah.
exposing all the people, because that will ruin their lives, ruin their reputations, ruin their careers. And
Right.
that's at least a good first step. They have accountability through being exposed in this thing. I'll
And
settle for that right now. We'll worry about the
right.
prosecution later down the road.
Yeah. And here's the thing. This is not again when the end comes. This is not going to be what happened under the Biden administration. No, there's going to be a different set of people, and we're going to separate this. Like
Yeah.
every time one of these regimes end, their tribunals. Look it up. They're not even part of the regular justice system. The crimes they committed are so heinous and such a violation of human rights. They're set aside to be prosecuted on a different level away from the normal system because the justice system cannot support what's going on right now. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. Once it comes down, literally, it's going to have to be tribunals. All these ICE agents, all these people running these prisons. Yeah, we're coming for you too. All the politicians are part of it, and your punishments are going to be federal crimes set aside. People go, that's not constitutional. Yeah, we're going to make it because the only way you could teach them what's going on, because we've had it. That's the thing. People don't get it. Did you see the ICE agent voodoo doll in New Orleans?
No, but I heard about him.
Oh, this was so. They went to New Orleans, okay, thinking that they're going to be because it's a red state. They found a voodoo doll hanging in Bourbon Street. an Ice Agent Buddha doll with pins in it. Okay.
Wow.
And this is where it gets strange. Once the doll's at, all of a sudden, Ice made this announcement that's really kind of a weird announcement. Like, you don't do that. I'm going, it's a doll. What? A lot of these Ice Agents start getting sick and not showing
Oh,
up.
wow.
There are videos of 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 voodoo priestess. I don't know what they call them, spreading ashes around New Orleans. This shit is runs deep in New Orleans, and people go, "Well, that doesn't matter." I don't know. There's some dark places here in the United States. I don't. There are a lot of people who say don't go into the woods in Appalachia at night. I won't do
Well,
it.
yeah.
You got to be
Yeah. You
crazy
know,
to do it.
when you talk about New Orleans, I don't know whether I believe in voodoo priestess, voodoo practice. I don't know if I believe in a lot of those things. But here's the deal: when you go there, those people do believe in it.
Yes.
And they believe in it for a reason, probably reasons I don't understand or haven't witnessed. But I'm not going in there and fucking around and find out.
No. And there's things going on. Again, there was a Supreme Court ruling that said that the Trump administration cannot put National Guard troops in Chicago.
Right.
That disappeared. They're moving 350 troops into New Orleans for the New Year's. Why hasn't anyone followed suit? Because right now they just set a precedent.
Yeah.
And now, is it getting worse? Yes. ICE is planning more detention centers. They're ramping up. They're doing all this. But I think with everything just so overwhelming him, I don't know how far they're going to get. Because I mean, people say he just wrote a an executive order saying you can't say this about him. So what the fuck? You can't. He can't legislate through executive order. Doesn't work
No,
like
and
that.
you can't take away a constitutional right with an
No,
executive order. You can't tell
no,
me what I can't say. I mean, if I'm on TikTok, you can kick me off TikTok, but I can say whatever I want to say. There may be some ramifications from it, legally or otherwise, but if I say Donald Trump is a dirty diaper, dumb fuck, motherfucker, not much you can do about it.
no.
First
I
of all,
mean,
it's true.
he's yeah. His feelings are hurt. I'm tired of this. Look, I saw. Did you see him at that Christmas party, sitting alone at a table?
I didn't see that, but I heard about it.
And I'm like going, and I'm going, and then that night he had all those posts. We're dealing with such an empty human being. You're
Yeah.
the president of the United States at his party, and no one wants to be around him. And I've seen other presidents at other parties, but they interact with people,
Yeah.
and it's a joyful thing. But he's so empty and so lacking of any kind of empathy that's why you get him bombing Nigeria, which apparently they bombed the wrong place, or him lashing out at people because the only thing he has to feel is hate.
Yeah.
That's all he's got. He doesn't know how to feel. He's never been raised right. Honestly, he was raised in a very bad place, and now we pay the price for his lack of proper etiquette. And his people around him, the sycophants, are just really, those people have issues. And Stephen Miller was out and about today saying that America would have been better without immigration. All these things that would have been invented would be fine. And I'm going, this is what happens when you have a mediocre white guy was able to con everyone into power. Stephen Miller's never achieved a goddamn thing in his life. He's a mediocre white guy who blames everybody else for his issues. You know what,
Right.
Stephen? You want to be cool. To be
He's not
honest, you
cool.
want to be invited to the cookout, but no one wants you because you're not cool. You're just a bitter, stupid old man who literally thinks that immigration didn't help the United States. I don't know. Have you looked at Ellis Island? Good God Almighty. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. But
You
their
know that
wheels are coming off their truck too. People ain't buying
you
this shit.
do you know that if you looked at it, um, there is no white person in America that doesn't ultimately come from some kind of immigration.
Oh, I know.
Everyone.
Yep.
Me, every other fucking white people. So the idea we don't need immigration. What you're saying is we want to let our people in and then put a stop to it. And that doesn't make sense because it works against this country. This is just pure and simple racism,
Right.
prejudice, and that's not what this country is about. And Stephen Miller is one of those people I hope are at the top of the list to get investigated, indicted, and
Oh, hell
prosecuted
yeah.
because he's done some horrific things.
And you listen to him talk, and it's just all crap.
Yeah.
And it's all crap. I mean, the problem is that you have zealots surrounding him, Trump. They really don't give a fuck about Trump. Trump is their entryway to get the things that they believe the world should be. If I see
Right.
one more video this Christmas of people saying you could say Merry Christmas to liberal, it pisses them off. No, it doesn't. It's just that you guys need to be persecuted. That's the biggest problem with you guys, all you MAGAs. You're always a victim. You need someone to hate you. Now you do a good job of it. But if
Yeah, they
someone
do a great
says Merry
job.
Christmas to me, Merry Christmas, I don't give a fuck. All right. And the worst ones were if you are celebrating Christmas, but it's not about Christ, then you shouldn't be celebrating Christmas. Are you out of your fucking minds? Because honestly, Christmas, the entire Christianity take was taken by Christianity in order to sell it. This is an entire pagan holiday. Let's be honest. You know it, I know it. But
Yeah.
Christmas to me is less about the religion. It's more about family get together and family traditions we've had for as long as you have, and everyone gets together and enjoys it. That's it.
If you're looking at the
Always has
purely
been.
relig if you're looking at purely the religious part of Christmas, that's one thing. But the way we know Christmas to be the way it is now, who put us here? The fucking oligarchs that want to sell cards and want to sell toys, and they just capitalized on this
Right,
holiday. These are the same people saying, "Oh, you got to be saying Merry Christmas." You fucking bastardized Christmas for fuck's sake.
right.
You
By
turned
the
it
way, do you know where
into a
Santa
fucking
Claus?
tourist trap.
You know what the image of Santa Claus came from, right? The one
No.
we see, the redheaded, the suit and the thing. It's a fucking Coke commercial, guys. Coke came up with that in the 20s and 30s, and it just took off. That
Wow.
image of Santa Claus is from Coca Cola. Okay. And I don't care. I really don't. You see, the thing about it is, it's traditions that people put together. Okay.
Right.
That we kind of put in there because it's more of a celebration of the family getting together and bringing the other parts of a family in it, the younger ones, the next generation. What are you going to do when you break off into your own family? What's your own traditions? You see, that's where everything gets perverted by these people because they use religion as a weapon. They don't believe in Jesus. They don't believe in Christianity. To them, religion is a weapon for money and control. I mean, they're all cultists anyway.
Yeah.
And they ruin. And the thing about it is that they've taken the idea of Christmas, which again to me is just family, and perverted it for their own uses, using religion as a weapon. Because no one really gave a shit if you said Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. If someone got upset if you say Happy Holidays, well, Merry Christmas, okay, Merry Christmas to you, and move on. And this is what we deal with because they have sold this culture war bullshit for close to 10, 15, 20 years. The problem is now the math doesn't work for them. It's not working for you guys anymore. No more math. People want their money, not their culture anymore. That's
The
bullshit.
distinct difference between Republicans or Trumplafucks and Democrats right now. Republicans are all about taking in directives from their leaders and telling them what to think. So then they come to the Democrats and say, you can't do this for Christmas. You can't do that for Christmas. The only difference is Democrats aren't going to allow you to tell us what to think. I'm certainly not going to allow anybody to tell me, well, you should think this and you should live like this. Fuck you. I'm going to do what I want to do. If my mom couldn't get me to fucking cave, you sure the fuck aren't.
And I don't give a and again, we're the whole transphobic thing. You heard that through his speech. The whole the whole Hunger Games bullshit. Come on, 250th anniversary of you and I were alive when the bicentennial came along. It was
Right.
nothing like this. Okay,
No,
this is a man who thinks it's so. This is ridiculous, and this whole thing, that whole thing about, and I'll bring it up. People would latch on to the Hunger Games. They've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But no, this is an old Nazi thing.
yeah,
Youth, Aryan youth, showing the greatness of Aryan youth. It's the same bullshit, just wrapped in a different package. And by the way, was the Olympics around? Remember that in '36? That's what they did too. And we have Olympics coming around. It's stupid, but also Grandpa needs something to do. And he is fucking losing it because they're giving him toys, celebrations to figure out, ballrooms. He wants to build a class of ships, which made no fucking sense to me at all. I'm listening to him going, and you're talking about they'll have rail guns. Dude, there is no technology for that. And two, and three, we don't care. We don't need that. It,
it's
just
he's just trying
insanity
everything.
because you got to keep him occupied.
He's just trying. When you talk about the Hitler Youth, and you talk about Trump-a-fucks, it's about indoctrination.
Yeah,
Um, I think, and this may be unpopular by a lot of folks, and I don't know that much about it, but I always got that sense about Young Republicans. Remember they had that organization,
yeah.
Young
Unfortunately,
Republicans. Talk about indoctrination. I mean, they had these kids turning them into Republicans, which they had no business thinking like because they were kids, and they were just trying to cultivate, new cult members for down the road, and they certainly accomplished it. And then they learned a different thing. Oh, take the dumb poor people and tell them that the government's coming after them, and we're going to save them from the government, and they'll buy anything. And that's pretty much what happened.
and so now the dumb poor people. How's your insurance going? How's that working for you? Or your
Oh yeah,
Medicaid? Or your SNAP? And before everyone goes, well, that's just for poor people. Watch Mr. Global today on a video. He got his on December 9th. He got a bill for his new insurance bills. It's going to be $593 a month. 2 weeks ago, after the subsidies failed, it says that your bill on the 31st is going to be $2,271 a month for
right.
insurance. Okay, he goes, I don't use subsidies. You guys don't get it. This is an industry-wide thing that is going to ripple across. Okay, because
Yeah,
they're going to share the without the subsidies, they're going to spread the pain. Okay, and you're going to see these bills, and that's in addition to, always remember, this bullshit they're trying to feed you with. Well, we'll just give people insurance; they can shop it. You're going to give me $1,300 to buy insurance. That's the idea. You do understand when I pay through my job $350 every 2 weeks for my insurance. That does not include my copays. That does not include my drug cost that I have to upgrade. Doesn't include the deductible I have to meet for hospital, which for us
right.
I think is $2,000 before they pay for a certain amount or before it becomes 80/20. I mean, right now I got a $985 bill for my wife's CT scan I got to pay. And that was my part of it.
Right.
Okay. I still have my own scan coming up in January. I got to pay for that. And so they sell you this bullshit because you guys are fixed on, well, I'm not going to pay for someone else's health insurance. Guess what, guys? You do it anyway.
Yeah.
Every fucking day. And the thing I was thinking about, could you imagine? if we had a universal health care, if I took half of what I paid, okay, if I paid $700 a month, if I take in taxes $350 toward universal health care, and when I get sick or need medication, I don't have to worry about paying for anything. I just go get it done. But I have that disposable income for myself.
Right.
How much difference would that be in the economy?
Be
Oh,
huge.
some people just don't have jobs. I don't care. But I would have the money. And again, and I watch these people and I listen to them. They sold you on this bullshit about socialism, all that. It doesn't work like that. Do you know in England, in France, in Germany, they don't have to worry about paying going into medical debt. They don't have to worry if someone's going to treat their cancer. There was a lady here who said her son has is just coming out of cancer, is now maintenance. It's been going to this one place that's Cigna covered and they're paying for it. But Cigna can't cut a deal with them, so they told him, you can't go in there, you're going to go someplace else. After 5 years of dealing with her son's cancer, I got to go find a new team. Why? Because they need to make money, because there's no universal pay. And don't give me this bullshit. You can't sell it anymore. You can't. People are getting wise to this bullshit. And the
Yeah.
only people who keep complaining about it are you cultists and you rich fucks. That's simple as that. That's what's left over. And it's coming to roost now. And it's going to get worse come January 1 when the subsidies are gone.
Well, there's no excuse for not having universal health care in this country. Every industrialized nation below us has universal health care, including Israel and Argentina, who we send hundreds of
Right.
billions of dollars to. Um, it can be done here. We're the richest country in the world. The fact that we're not able to do it or somebody says we can't afford it is categorically bullshit. The only reason we don't have it here is because the big lobbies pay a lot of money into our members of
Right.
Congress, both Republican and Democrats, to make sure they get to keep grifting us the way they're grifting it. But you're right, people are becoming exposed to it now. There, Congress is coming back on January 5th, even though the subsidies end on the 1st. They're talking about, well, we have up to the 15th. I don't know if that's true or not. What do you think happens when they come back on the 5th? Republicans have been refusing to vote on extending the subsidies, but now they're seeing the real effects of their constituents getting pissed off. Do you think they pass the subsidies, or do you think they blow all these people, 24 million people minimum, out of the water, and they say, "Fuck it, we don't care"?
I mean,
It's hard for me to tell.
there's a discharge petition already,
Right,
so there will be a vote.
right.
Will it pass
But
the House? Possibly.
well,
Will
I
it
think
get
it
through
will pass
this?
the House if they got 218 votes on the discharge petition. It
Right.
will pass the House, but
Yeah,
it's a
it's
matter of
not
how
going to get.
much it passes the House by.
It's not going to get through the Senate because senators like John Thune are determined to kill the ACA, and they keep coming up with this idea. That I mean, they had what's the Wisconsin senator Rick, that dumbass,
Ron
um,
Johnson.
Ron Johnson, and he was talking about health care, that Obamacare was a $9 million fraud and it's easy to defraud the federal government, blah, 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 blah. But he has no solution for it other than just let it die. I
Well,
mean,
there
they,
is a
they talk
solution:
shit, but they don't
universal
care.
health care.
Yeah, but they don't care because it makes sense to everybody but them. There's so much money involved in it right now. But people are tired. People are getting tired. And when people get tired, they push back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're really they Mike Johnson and all them can spin it the way they want, but this election coming up is scaring the piss out of them
Well,
because they know it's coming.
if they blow up the ACA, if they just blow that fucking out of the water,
Yeah,
guess what? They pretty much put a fucking fork in the Republican Party. They're already in trouble. They're not going to win in the midterms, but they might as well just pack it in and go because there will be nothing left of the Republican Party after they destroy most of their constituents.
Yeah, I mean they keep holding on to the Democratic shutdown. Let it go. We know that didn't work. Okay, you can roll that as much as you want. If you the similar solution, just extend the ACA subsidy 2 years, and then you don't have that off your back. You got enough bullshit that's going to get on top of you anyway. But they won't do it because for them it's the principle of the thing.
Right.
And Trump has no plan. It's the same plan I just talked about, which we're not going to give it to the insurers, give it to the people. But they have no idea how insurance works. They have no idea how insurance works. They don't.
And in order
It,
to actually work the way they are suggesting it works, you can't give them a one-time payment of $1,500. In order to keep
no,
up with the cost, you're going to have to give people $1,500 a fucking month, and they aren't prepared
exactly.
to do that.
What that's called subsidies?
Yeah.
You
Imagine
see,
that.
it's dumb. And they keep selling it. Well, the rich insurance companies get the money. They're going to get the money anyway. You dumb fucks. And
Yeah.
this is just the premiums. That's just to have the insurance, not the rest of it that comes with it. The durable equipment, the drugs, the the the, the scans and all that. That's extra on top of it. And that's what they keep trying to sell that, and only the very stupid buy it because they're cultists. But here we are. So things haven't blown up yet, but it is going to. They can't spin this.
Yeah.
Scott Bassett, Howard Lutkin, all of them, you could spin this. It's not spinning. You're losing jobs. You have no industry. Tariffs aren't working. But you could sell it as much as you want. I mean, you can go on CNN or take over CNN or take over CBS. It's not going to change anything. Quick note on the Barry Weiss thing and the CCOT thing. Look, that was disgusting. But what do you expect when your head of CBS is a blogger, not a
Yeah.
journalist?
Right.
Okay, and is beholden to what's his name, Larry? Who's that asshole? The
Larry
guy
Ellison.
Ellison and Trump. But here's the thing: no one watches network news anymore, guys. They
No,
don't.
well, that's something interesting. Donald Trump said the other day, which I'm sure Larry Ellison wasn't too happy about. He said that Larry Ellison told him that they were going to make CBS more right-leaning, more conservative. Well, that's that's not a good way to try to build an audience. You'd
No,
want some impartiality, some actual journalism, but CBS isn't going to do this. As far as I'm concerned, network news, and maybe even the mainstream streaming news, it's going by the wayside for a couple of
right?
reasons. Nobody can trust anything they say anymore, and trust is the bottom line, most important thing you have if you're trying to get your news. Secondly, the millennials and the Gen Zs are taking over. We know they're going to be the biggest voting blocks in 2028. And as those
Right.
millennials and Gen Zs come in, they don't listen to network fucking news. They don't
Nope.
listen to the streaming news. They get it on the internet in bits and pieces as they want it. So those network fucks, they're on the decline, a very quick decline. They're
Right.
they're going to go they're going to go the way of 8 tracks or
Exactly.
blacksmiths. That's what they're going to be.
It, I mean, I could use the words. I could use names like Morley Safer to you
Hmm.
or Mike Wallace.
Walter
That
Cronkite.
means
Yeah.
something to us.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that was 60 Minutes, but it doesn't matter anymore because that whole thing was. I saw someone put out a thing about, it's fascist because you have to get this information out in Canada. You know what? The information's out. It was going to be out. You can't stop it. And the thing
Yeah.
about it, her memo talking about all that. Look, Barry, you're on borrowed time. CBS News is on borrowed time.
They all
This
are.
is they're on borrowed time, and that's why I'm not flipping out about it because she did it. And when that happened, I'm like, and that's why they want CNN so bad. That's why they want Warner Brothers. Skydance wants Warner Brothers. It's not because of the entertainment or HBO Max. No, they want CNN because they want to turn CNN into Fox Light.
And
But
the thing,
Netflix is hanging on because Netflix, you know, wants, they don't give a shit about CNN. They don't want to lose.
the
But the
thing
point
about it
is,
is, it's a very tenuous situation for those people in that business. All that
right.
has to happen is people don't watch them anymore. And if they
Yep.
don't watch them anymore, they're irrelevant and they make no money and they go bankrupt. And that's what I think we're going to see a lot of these networks doing. They're either going to have to change dramatically, but even still, regardless of what they're saying or what kind of message they're putting out there, their vehicle to deliver the information is not what millennials and Gen Zs want to
No,
use. They're not going to sit down and watch a half hour fucking
no,
news show. They just aren't
not
going
like
to
we
do
used
it.
to. No.
No, hell
And
no.
also,
I
and
don't.
also they dressed it up as a clown car. I
Yeah.
mean, they dressed it as a clown. And also, look, the videos on YouTube, the maximum 15 minutes, what mostly people will sit through. Okay. Very rarely, like what we like you do here is a podcast. That's a rare. That's just a once in a while, thing. That's an hour long. But most of the time, videos are 2-3 minutes,
Yeah.
15 minutes on the outside reporting. People don't want to go beyond that because that's what we kind of gotten into. Okay. And the thing about it, the best thing about Midas Touch, in 9 minutes, they'll lay everybody out.
Right.
Aaron Parnas in 4 minutes, lay everybody out. And there you go. And that's, you can't fight that. You can't fight it. You could try, but it's still going to pop up. And that's the thing. The mass media, I'm not going to, is the fourth estate dead like it was? Probably. But it's coming back in a different form and it's
Exactly.
driving them nuts.
It's like, it's like when all we had was radio. And then TV
Yep.
comes out, everybody goes, "Oh, it's a vast wasteland," and then it becomes a powerhouse. And then I was watching a documentary recently about the year 1975 and how transitional it was. And when the internet came about, everybody was thinking, "Oh shit, people are going to lose jobs," just like they're talking about with AI. And there's always going to be a progression in technology, and either you keep up with it or you fucking lose. The music business didn't keep up with the technology the way
Yep.
they should have, and they got their ass burned by Napster and everything else, and they're still not
Exactly.
making the kind of money they could have made if they harnessed that in the beginning. Media is slow when it comes to technology, and that's going to cause
And
networks and
the whole
mainstream media a lot of problems.
and AI right now, everything's gone psycho. The data centers and all that. That will pare back because
Yeah,
it's costing them more. It's going to cost more money to maintain it than they're going to make money for it. People will push back. They'll come at a happy medium for it. I mean, that's the way it always goes. Technology. Some people will be victimized by technology. Some will not. And that's always been happening for forever.
yeah.
What we need to know, what the biggest thing right now for everyone is to take a deep breath and see what's going on. I think someone made a good comment, and we talked about it, but someone in the Bulwark made a good comment. Is that this is a fascist takeover, but these guys are just bad at it. They are incompetent.
And
They
it's
have
falling
no
apart.
idea how to do this. Yeah,
I mean, you can see with
it's not
Donald Trump, he's
sustainable.
losing it. He Donald Trump is losing it, and Donald Trump isn't able to keep on track with anything. He's saying everything and anything he can, and the problem is the people around them are such sycophants that they
Right.
have to figure out how to hang with Donald Trump, even if they know it's stupid, even they know if it's wrong. They're so sycophantic that they've got to somehow buoy or support
Oh,
Donald Trump.
it's worse. They think they're winning. They really do. They
I
think
hope
that
they
they are
do.
changing the country they want. When these guys get up on the Sunday shows and everything, they're not just gaslighting. They really have swallowed the Kool Aid. They believe that terrorists work. They believe everything's okay. They believe in a couple of months, factories will pop up like asparagus from the ground. They believe this. That's
Wow.
worse.
That is worse.
It,
I mean, if they're not able to see the danger they're in, that makes you question their intellect in the
it,
first place. I mean,
I
fuck.
never forgot when Trump first was elected second time around, and they were doing the transition teams. Um, in the agriculture department, they had one of their little sycophants in there talking about how they're going to tariff this, tariff that. We're going to do everything in America, and um, they brought up coffee.
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, we're going to tariff coffee because we're going to make it in the United States." And someone who was in the USDA at the time said, "We don't grow coffee in the United States outside of Hawaii." And the zealot said, "Okay, well then Americans will just do without." That's their thinking. That's their mentality. And it sounds stupid, Mike, but if you listen to them speak, they truly believe what they're saying. These people are true believers. That's why it's so hard to deal with this cult. That's why a lot of them defending the Epstein files, defending the actions of something that's indefensible, because they are deep in this, because they know it's going to be okay, because they're working for the better good, their idea of a better good, whatever that is.
I watched
That's the way they see it.
Scott Bessent, who is a
Ugh,
wealthy guy who was thought to have known what he was talking about when he took the job, but he's all bought into Donald Trump's bullshit. He can't admit when they're wrong. And I have to wonder, he does know better, but he's bought into tariffs and all this other stuff, and he's convinced that this coming year things are going to start coming back and looking better. I will tell you this, I'm not an economics guy, but I've learned some things over my lifetime and see how things trend. Our economy and just everything in general in this country can do nothing but get worse over the next year.
yeah,
It's going to get worse, and people are going to be angry. I mean, we're already talking about the polling on Donald Trump's immigration efforts down to 31%,
right.
economics down to 36%. Those are devastating low numbers, and they're going to continue to fall.
And that's less than 1 year.
Yeah,
Less than 1 year. Okay. I mean, the New York Times put out an article that Doge didn't do anything. It didn't save money. It spent more money. Well, whoop de fucking do. Welcome to the party, pal. I could have told you that before. Where did the money go? It went into the Trump and Musk funds. They took that money with Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House, who has advocated the legislative branch of power to Trump. It's allowed him to do everything, because I guarantee you, any speaker with any kind of balls would have stopped him, would have gone to a court and said, "No, we have these money designated. You can't do this. We have the right to the purse." But see, you have such a deep sycophantic idiot in Mike Johnson. He has literally sold Congress down the line. And now the Congress people are going, "Oh, we don't have any power." You think? You let him sell you to Trump.
yeah.
And now you figured it out. And that's where you're at. And when all the tax cuts go to the rich, Medicaid and all that, which is coming up January 1, this is going to exacerbate a worse problem. And as for, look, these guys are so deep. I watched Howard Lutkin try to explain during that Trump speech about what it means to have, if he's saving you 600% on medication.
I know
I
he tried
heard
to
that.
explain
You
that.
heard that. And I'm
Yeah,
watching him going, and I'm, again, wasn't feeling well, but are you kidding me? Even the reporter was like, "No, it doesn't work like that. That's 60%, not 600."
yeah.
That's what he kept describing. And I'm like going, but see, that's how deep they are in it. Also, Lutkin's making money from AI and recommendations, so he has a vested interest, and it's all a grift. I mean, Cash Patel. You know, they bought armored BMWs for him.
Yeah.
What
Just what we
they
need.
already have Tahoes, they already have this. Nope, he needs his own. There's a story when they showed up at the Charlie Kirk thing that he wouldn't leave the plane because he didn't have a jacket, an FBI jacket with patches on it. I mean, this is why they don't like them, and the rank and file don't like them. Pete Hegseth, what a joke!
Yeah.
I mean, you have really ripped the military to shreds, and we still haven't. I'm still waiting for the invasion of Venezuela. Why has that happened? Oh, by the way, they tried to stop a Venezuelan oil tanker with the Coast Guard. You know what they did? They outran the Coast Guard. It was fucking embarrassing. I'm like going, you're doing an interdiction. You don't have a cutter. I'm not saying they should do it, but I mean, you have an oil tanker outrunning the Coast Guard. I mean, this is the depth of incompetency. And the best thing that we can all say for all this, through all this holiday bullshit, with the Epstein stench on it, it is not survivable and it's not, they can't maintain it. There were
Yeah.
floods in Southern California. There were floods in Washington. Did you hear anything about it? I did.
No. I heard about California. I didn't hear about the other.
Oh, in Vancouver, no, Washington had a disaster. They had overrun rivers and all that. In Southern California, now, I saw where that was. That's normal when you get heavy rains like that, the Pineapple Express. I
Yeah.
lived in Palmdale. A lot of those areas do flood, so it's bad. Wrightwood was bad. But the point is, nothing comes out of the White House about this. The state doesn't say anything to the White. The states of Washington and California did not go to the federal government for federal aid. Why? Because it would have been a waste of fucking time.
Yeah. But I will tell you this, though. Donald Trump didn't talk about the disasters, but he did bring up, and this is big news, he did bring up that he's planning to put marble armrests at the Kennedy Center, which I don't understand why, because nobody's going there anymore. They're fucking the ticket sales are way down. People are backing out of it. They're threatening to sue people for backing out of it to tune $1 million. They're desperate over there. He's taking a pretty respected um, organization, the Kennedy Center, very
Yeah,
important and dedicated
arts.
to a great president as opposed to the shitty president. And they pretty much destroyed it. They turned it into a fucking trailer park.
And it's because he's supposed to change the arts to make it better. How? He
Yeah.
doesn't know what arts are. He probably never heard Mozart in his life. And
No.
the guy backed out of it. Now they want to sue him. And I saw some of the, again, you Trump fucks, you got to stop. And funny, it wasn't Trump that did it. It was the president who they put Trump's name. Yeah, the chairman, the head of the Kennedy Center is Trump. He put himself there. He fired the board and put a bunch of his sycophants in there. And the guy who's complaining about that one guy musician canceling worked for Trump in his first administration.
Yeah.
So stop it. Stop it. I mean, this is again, we got to give Grandpa something to do while we fuck everything else up. I mean, his obsession with this shit is sad. But here's the other thing: we talk about health. Um, his hands, okay, he's now looking at bruises that are different on another hand, on his left hand or right hand. Was
Right.
was primarily on one hand. Why? Because they've run out of veins, people,
Yeah,
to
probably.
plug in his drugs. This is not going to get better. And as the stress builds, he's losing his, you could see it. When I said this in the beginning, he's lost his shit physically and mentally. He is gone. And
Part of
all
this
you
whole
see
thing,
here is, go ahead, I'm sorry.
part of this thing is he's cognitively diminished, okay? But another part of it is because he's a narcissist, he's in a position that he's not used to. He's got nowhere to turn. His normal strategies don't work. He can't divert, distract. He can't get the Epstein files off of him. So now he's just freaking out. He's saying crazy
Right.
shit because he's got nothing else to do. There's nothing else he can say. Everything he's tried hasn't worked. So now he's just flat out panicking, freaking the fuck out. And, this is what I've always said too. When we get to this point, this is when shit gets crazy and really ugly. So be prepared.
And the people around him don't know what to do. Pam Bondi doesn't know what to do. She
No.
really doesn't. She knew this train was coming. She tried to derail it. She can't. There's nothing you can do. What are you going to start arresting everybody? Cash Patel doesn't know what to do. Well, he doesn't know what to do anyway. And they're just get there's you can't spin this. Fox News, one of their bubble-headed bleach blondes said that the reason that Trump's numbers are low is because people expect too much for him, so his numbers are low because they should be higher, but they expected more from him. It is the most motherfucking circular logic I've heard in my life, but that's desperation. You
It
cannot sell
is.
this pig's pearls because
Let's see.
people are now feeling it.
This moment in time was imminent. They come out and they talk about tariffs and all the shit. You know, of all the people around Donald Trump that still think this tariff thing and all the other actions are going
Jeez,
to
yeah.
work, all these, very wealthy, very powerful politicians stand with Donald Trump, stood with him then, and stand with him now. Uh, I have a question. How did we, and when I say we, I mean you, me, and the collective people that listen to this show, how did we know what was going to happen and they didn't? Because this is no surprise to me. It's a little
No,
surprising that the Republicans allowed it to get this far, but I knew it was going to go wrong. I knew it was going to be bad economically. We knew. How did they not fucking know?
because they were because they thought it would work. Everything Trump does so far has worked. It's not working. I mean, they're realizing no, it's not working. I mean, you can look at all the history and all that. They just and also at the time that all this started a year ago, to be honest, they feared getting primaried by him. They
Yeah.
feared the power of Trump. Here we are, close to 12 months later. They don't fear him. His
Well,
power is
most of them don't fear him because
waning.
they're quitting.
Yeah, his power is waning, and they want to bring up, they the replacement primaries are going to be more MAGA. That's not going to work. Hell, this asshole here in Georgia that's running for Senate, he had a commercial said that he likes ice with his tea. Okay, motherfucker, that's not going to work here in Georgia. It's
No.
not working. No, you're losing House seats. It's not working. And they're going to, but see, the thing about it is that's all they got. That's it. They're going to roll out the old favorites. Hence the speech. They're going to keep rolling out, but no one's buying it. Why? Because they can't buy anything.
Well, you talk
And
about the old hits. We should talk about the meeting Donald Trump had today or
oh
yesterday, if
crap!
you're listening tomorrow, with Zelensky. He had a meeting
I
in
fucking do this on
Mar-a-Lago
a
with
Sunday.
Zelensky.
On a Sunday. Oh,
Who
go
the
ahead. I'm
fuck
sorry.
knows? The evangelicals should be outraged because he did it on the Sabbath, the day of rest for Jesus. But
No, he's doing
um,
God's work. Blah blah blah. Go
yeah,
ahead. I'm sorry.
but he's talking to Zelensky. I still don't understand how you have peace talks if you only have one side of the peace talks in a conversation. But when he was talking about Zelensky and they were doing an interview afterwards, I think he went off on the tangent about the economy. He went off on a tangent about how he won in 2020 and the
Jeez.
Russia hoax. I mean, he couldn't stay on track. He is so it's so ingrained in his mind that he lost in those incidents that he's doing working so hard to try to change the narrative of it and it's not working. That's how mentally deranged this motherfucker is. Whether it be the 2020 election or whether it be the Russia hoax, all you're doing is bringing it back to the forefront and proving. that you're fucking lying. If I was lying about something like that, I'd shut the fuck up about it and move
Hey,
on. But he can't do it.
he's lost because that's all he's
Yeah, it
got
really
left.
is.
He's a grievance right now. And the thing about it too is like the Europeans don't trust us. Someone
No,
had said that they had talked to some friends like overseas. They said it'll take them years to get back with us because there's 80 million of us who voted for this bullshit. And I get
right.
it. Oh, I fucking get it. I mean, it's going to take decades. Oh, by the way, hey, those people who work for Jim Beam down in Kentucky, how's that working for you?
Yeah, not
Again, a
well.
victim of tariffs. Um, and this is, I'm not shocked what we see going on Mar-a-Lago. Why are we doing this Sundays? It makes sense. He's speaking to Putin. Meanwhile, Putin is bombing the shit out of Kiev last night in
Well, that
residential areas.
isn't that an interesting response. He knew that Zelensky and Donald Trump were meeting on Sunday, so he goes and bombs Kiev on Saturday.
Yep.
That's basically flipping off Donald Trump and Zelensky and
Right.
saying, we don't give a fuck what you have to say. And the idea that Donald Trump thinks he's going to negotiate a peace treaty here, Zelensky's or Putin's not going to agree to anything. He doesn't want a peace agreement.
But a
He's
peace
like
treaty,
he's like Netanyahu. He needs this war to stay in power.
yes. And a peace treaty is all the everyone has to be involved. The Europeans, the Russians. You all sit at a table. You come up with a plan. This is not one man doing it. This is
No.
again Donald Trump thinking that he knows better about everything. Fuck, I knew when he was talking about those battleships. Yeah, I'm going to be part of the design because I know stuff that looks good. Dude, I've seen your buildings. They're ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
this is such a deep running sense of narcissism, or I need to be part of everything because my life is so fucking empty, is what we're dealing with. And I had made a comment about elections. Elections have consequences. We know this.
Yeah.
Okay. We see that economically, we see what's going on, but there's a, in ICE and all that, but there's a social norm that elections set. And I did this in the last video. Check it out on YouTube. And at Christmas night, so everyone's at the end of dinner and everything, and we're just kind of like chilling. And so one of the movies we watch is "It's a Wonderful Life,"
Mhm.
Frank Capra's film. You know, George Bailey story, the whole thing. If you know, you know, and most people
Yeah.
do. And the bottom line is George Bailey found out what it's like when he's not there and how much difference he makes one man makes. And at that scene where he sees what his little town turned into when you let the oligarch Potter run everything,
Yeah.
as he's going through the town and he's interacting with people, all those people are mad. All those people are bitter. All those people have no hope. All those people want to fight. All those people want to be cruel. This is not what he, no. And I thought about it. I'm going, election sets social norms. And right now, that's what America's a lot like right now. The
Yeah.
lack of empathy in this country is ridiculous. I open the FYP, it's just full of people just trying to kill one another, literally over
Yeah.
this stupid, not caring about stuff, saying, fuck them kids. Oh, yeah, they were 13 when they got raped. Who gives a fuck? Fuck them.
Well,
I
there are
got
some
mine, you
people
get yours. It's ridiculous now. And
I've
this
heard people
is
saying
Trump's America.
I've heard people saying these girls 13, 14, 15, they knew what they were getting into. Bullshit. And secondly,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what you think. It's still fucking illegal. If you
but
are
it's like,
abusing a kid that's 15 or 16, it's illegal. You can't do it. You can't justify it. You can't explain it away. It's fucking illegal. There is no argument about it.
and, and you can see it out there right now with the social norm. Everyone's angry, everyone's worried. There's nothing there. And this is because You elected an empty man whose only job is to poke you. That's
Yeah.
it. He does this shit because it makes him feel better, and his little sycophants giggle about it. It's literally high school again. And I'm hoping that, and that's the thing going back to the election, they laughed, that they made fun of Kamala Harris laugh or her being with family and all that, because that didn't seem tough. Now we're dealing with a man who's literally an empty shell. No one's sitting with you at Christmas party, and you're the
Yeah.
president of the United States. I don't feel sorry for you. It just gives you an idea. That's what he's turned America into, a fucking pariah. No one wants to be around us.
Well,
Why?
and
Because
if
A,
you
we
think it's
smell, and two, we have an attitude.
and if you think it's bad now for Donald Trump, he will become truly a pariah when this is all done. When his clutches are taken off the Epstein files and that sort of stuff, and it all comes out, because that's what's going to happen. And
Right,
we're kind of building to that. It's going to come to a point where the dam breaks and everything gets released, and you find everything out about not only the Epstein files, but all the other criminal activity and the fucking mess he created
right,
financially for our government. Donald Trump will be a pariah. He will be hated by 90% of the people in this country, even some Trumplafucks. They'll always look for somebody to blame. And when Donald
right.
Trump is the popular spot, they will blame him too. And his
And he's
life
not,
isn't going to be good.
yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. Even if the dam breaks and we see everything, is he going to step down? No. Is he going to be prosecuted? No. We all know this. If you are expecting something different, then basically put away the bag of gummies. Okay? I know how this is going to work. But what it's going to do, it's going to affect what he can do on the ground. Same
Yeah.
thing. I mean, that's going to affect the Department of Homeland Security. That's going to affect um, things being done by the Defense Department. It's going to affect everything. Congress is going to go, you know what? Fuck him. He's DOA anyway. We don't have to do his shit. Even the
Yeah.
senators will have to back away. So the consequences for everyone, and again, if you're sitting there going, well, I don't care because there's no one's going to jail. They're not going to jail now. They will eventually. But
Yeah.
right now, could you imagine that shit stain? Because there's not, because he needs his ultimate power. This kills their power. The Heritage
Yeah.
Foundation should fear this because you're part of it. I've seen what you talk about child marriage and children and women. Ain't gonna work, guys. It's you cannot progress, you cannot advance your agenda when the man you're using to advance the agenda is literally a shit stained pedophile. It ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Can't.
I have this theory. If you have the historically worst pedophile in Jeffrey Dahmer, same, different. That's a
Yeah,
Freudian
six
slip.
six of one, half a
Jeff,
dozen the other. But yeah,
yeah, Jeffrey Epstein. I can only assume that if you support a pedophile, that you're an accessory after the fact. You're the one
oh
that
god,
helps
yes.
keep them maintain their position. Donald Trump fits that mold. He may very well be a pedophile himself based on the things we've seen so far. If there's anything, any hint of truth in those Epstein files, Donald Trump is a pedophile. There's just no fucking question about it. And when I talk to Trumplafucks, basically what I say, look, if you support Donald Trump now, after you know what you can tell me it's all fake and stuff, but I have to look at you as little more than a pedophile yourself.
Yep.
You support it. You're an accessory after the fact because you support it. And if you think we hated you before, just think how people are going to feel about you when you acknowledged and supported monsters like these motherfuckers, like Donald
Yep.
Trump, like Jeffrey Epstein, like Ghislaine Maxwell. It's not going to fare well for you down the road.
It's it's not farewell for them now. They're getting
No.
away with it for now, but people are starting to go now. No, you could throw what you want and we'll stick to the wall.
Yeah.
And when Congress comes back, it's gonna outweigh everything. I mean, they're gonna put in their culture stuff. They're working on bunch of bullshit. That's not going to get through Congress, and it's going to be the next quarter is going to be really interesting, economically, socially, how everyone's going to deal with. Will the wheels really come off the bus economically? Then we're really screwed. We'll see what happens in the end. That's the hardest things right now.
What do you think the deal is with this GDP that comes out at 4.3%, a huge jump up? My problem is I can't trust any numbers that come out of the
No,
Trump administration because they're all phonied up or they're messed with to some extent. We know that the unemployment when they came out that last month they were up 60,000 jobs. But what they didn't tell us was the month before they were down 110,000 jobs.
right.
So it's a net loss of 40,000 jobs between the 2 months. And with the GDP, I don't know. Some people say it's AI, some people say it's something else. Those numbers come from September, by the way. They don't cover October, November, December at all. So, they want to claim a win on that. I
So the
don't buy
third quarter
it.
GDP, what that is fake. And I'll say is that because you don't have the BLS numbers that came out from it, you hit those.
Yeah.
We already know their layoffs. That's guaranteed. ATP it showed that with their private payroll numbers. Yeah, there's words that it's either AI or government spending, i.e., money they use for DHS that they put in there. It's an outlier. No one is buying it of
Yeah.
any kind of economic consequences. Trust me, all the finance houses are not going, yay. They're going, no, this is not right. Our math doesn't match. But so what that is, that was just something they came up with. It looks good, and they're going to roll with it. But come January, when the next set come up, and then the yearly GDP has to be put out. Good luck with that. And they're gonna fudge the numbers. We haven't seen a BLS report what in months.
Right. And
They're
any
hiding stuff. They're hiding stuff.
I just feel
Period.
like any bad news we're not going to hear about. We're just
No,
not going to
God
hear
no.
about it.
But you can't get around the bad news. It may not come from the government, but it's going to come from private sectors.
Right.
Private sectors aren't stupid. They have to. They still have to be beholden to their stockholders and their stakeholders. You can't sell that to an extent. They'll sell Donald Trump's fantasy. We're living in his fucking reality TV show, and
Yeah,
they're
pretty
trying to write
much.
the script. But there's only so much you can do. It is a fantasy that they live in, and he lives in,
Right.
and that's the hardest thing. There's no, they don't want to tell him the truth, and they need him stupid so they can do their own agendas. Problem is, those agendas blow up because you need him,
Exactly.
and so what are the GDP numbers? Bullshit. And if you are you telling them as a Trumplafuck, you don't know how math works. And I've got swampland to sell you off the Highway 1 in Florida with a couple of gators.
My biggest concern is that when Donald Trump is out of office and the Congress is Democratic and we get reasonable people in the White House, we are going to find an absolute fucking mess
Oh, it's going to be
financially for this
oh
government.
God. Oh, I mean, we're talking about you go to jail type of stuff.
Yeah,
It's going to be the numbers. And the problem with that is that once the real numbers come out, the consequences come down. Falling stock market, jobs, runs on banks. That's the problem. With them hiding it, they don't get it. When they start gets discovered, then shit happens. Problem is that the Democrats will probably be in charge, and they'll blame the Democrats for their problem. That's
well,
the
yeah,
biggest. That's the biggest drawback to this bullshit is that they will go to the next level because that's all they got. So, what does that mean for us economically? It means hang on to your butts. They're not going to do anything to recover. This Congress, let's put it this way, if there's a Democratic Congress, they'll move to try to save it. Um, they'll probably have to force Trump to sign shit. But if there's not a Democratic Congress, let's say it happens early in the year, Republicans will sit on it and watch everyone suffer because they like that. It
Let me
makes
throw
them feel
something out to
good.
you.
Hmm.
Some people have said there was a story that Donald Trump basically said in passing, should I leave? Should I resign? And people will say that Donald Trump will never resign because he's a narcissist, and there's some truth to
Hmm.
that. But narcissists always get to a point where there's no place to go, and then they do run because they're cowards. And I'm starting to think about this. If the midterms happen the way we suspect, Democrats win the House, Democrats win the Senate. They're going to spend 2 years doing investigations on Donald Trump. Donald Trump will accomplish nothing. He'll be stopped every step of the way. If Donald Trump was going to quit, that would be the time he would do it and say, listen, you didn't do what I needed to do. You took all the power away from me. So fuck you. I'm leaving. What do you think about that prospect?
I don't think he'd do it because that means JD Vance would be in charge. He won't do that. I
Yeah,
think
no, I
he's,
get that.
yeah, I mean, because it's just like that means that JD Vance will be in charge. He's not going to let Vance do that. He'll rather let it watch all burn down. He would rather them impeach him, the whole 9 yards. He'd rather go victimhood. Um, they won't have the balls to do the 25th Amendment.
Yeah,
So because they're deep, because you have to remember the people around him are deep, deep, deep in this cult. They're deep
yeah,
because they this is their identity right now. I mean, how the fuck do you explain RFK or Dr. Oz
yeah,
or I mean they coming up with this shit. By the way, how's the measles doing for you, South Carolina? Ooh,
yeah,
that's looking
really.
good, isn't it? Um, they are so deep because that's all they got, and they'll hang on to it to the bitter end. And that's the thing with these regimes. That's why they end so badly. Is that everyone hangs on to the bitter end, and you got to drag them out, and that's what's going to happen in the end. And what? How's there gonna be a regime change? Death in the end.
Yeah,
That's the only thing I can see because he can't do it. It's not even just that you got to go because we might impeach him. Well, impeach me, but I'm not giving this to JD Vance. You know that's true.
yeah, yeah. No, I can see that. But I also know that if he's in a corner and he's going to spend every day being embarrassed and exposed, narcissists don't handle that well.
He's
They
embarrassed right now, and he's come up with a new fantasy. They'll
yeah,
heat. Remember when Hitler was in the bunker at the end? They were feeding him fake shit. He was still planning the conquest of the world.
yeah,
He still thought they could win. Okay,
true.
his generals came to him but wouldn't tell him the truth. Okay, they still curried favor for him, even though they knew what was going on above the ground. That's what we're dealing with. He gets into that bunker mentality, he'll stay. It's going to be ugly until someone finally decides they're going to have to crack that. But I don't think they will because they get something out of it. They all get something out of it. That's the saddest thing is that this is the epitome of a cult. And if you know Jim Jones, you know Jim Jones. That's the most
Yeah.
recent one I can think about it. I mean, he convinced an entire hundreds of people to commit suicide. Why? Because it was the best thing for them. And so
Yeah.
hanging on to Trump, hanging on to everything he's done, still believing that he is sent from God to set everything right, they will not let go of that because that's who they are. And we see that today.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
worst of the
That's true.
worst, they are will not let go because that's all they have. 10 years of that. And even when they wake up and discover they're fucked, they have regrets, but they don't regret it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what's going to happen in the end is basically we're going to have to pry the presidency from his cold dead fingers in the end, because that's all he's
So,
got
so,
left.
so what you're saying is we're sitting watching in slow motion an imminent car crash, a tragic car crash, and all we can do is wait till it happens. We can't
It's
find a way
basically
out of it.
the lemmings are taking a left and they're going to the cliff, and we're
Yeah.
sitting there screaming, but the head lemming is going, 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 and they're all behind him. And
Uh-oh.
hi, and when they go over the cliff, you know what they're going to say? Best damn fall ever.
Yeah,
Best fall
probably.
ever.
Probably. Well, we're going to wrap up the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, you start feeling better. You look better than you did last week. I saw
Yeah,
some of your videos. It did not look good.
yeah,
Ho-
it's not been fun.
and
So,
we hope
uh,
your wife's appointment with the oncologist goes well.
yeah,
Keep us
I'll
informed
I'll
of
keep
what's
you guys
happening.
updated. Again, I'm still at Substack Binder 38 US and Substack. Same with YouTube, Binder 38 YouTube. Like and subscribe both. Paid subscription on Substack. Any help would be great. Still sitting around TikTok until I don't know what the fuck is going to happen there. RJ12764 at TikTok. Did they sell it, or are we just sitting there waiting for the inevitable uh,
They keep telling
death?
us they sell it, but I can't tell you how many deals Donald Trump claims he has, and they
Yeah,
never come to fruition. I don't know. I'll just keep posting on TikTok as long as it's viable, and when it's not, you know, everything has
but
an expiration date. So we'll see.
I'm glad I can get back to you guys. You guys have a good rest of the night. Follow me there, and Mike, thanks for letting me feel better. I guess
Uh,
in the end,
Well, yeah, I know what it's like. I know it's like being sick and trying to do this shit. It's a pain in the
right.
ass. For those of you listening, thanks for taking the time. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.